If you're trying to build a profitable online business, there's one thing that will either unlock your growth or completely cap it, and that's time. When I was doing everything myself, from customer service to product research to listing everything, I hit a ceiling extremely fast. The truth is, no matter how hard you work, you will never outproduce a small team of people that are helping you behind the scenes. And that is where virtual assistants come in. So, in this video, I want to break down exactly how I've used overseas VAs to scale to six figures in a number of different businesses and then beyond, save me hours and hours of work every single day, and finally build a business that runs without me being glued to my laptop 24/7 with no life. Now, whether you're already doing well or you're just starting out, this will help you build a system that can grow with you or even when you're not there, which is the true mark of a successful business. Otherwise, if your business needs you there to actually function every single day, there's a glass ceiling, so to speak, that you can't see. And really, you just built a job for yourself as an entrepreneur. So let's start with the why. Outsourcing is not about being lazy, right? It's about being smart. As entrepreneurs, we tend to wear a lot of hats, especially in the beginning. And the truth is that that can be necessary in some capacity. But you can't scale a business if you're the only one that's doing everything. Eventually, your time becomes the bottleneck, and you can either keep grinding, hoping to squeeze out more hours in your day. And I've been down that road painstakingly trying to optimize every single second of my day, or you can start building a team to help you multiply your output exponentially. Now, for me, hiring a VA allowed me to get double the output and double the work done. And now I have 3 full-time VAs and almost a dozen freelancers that I consistently use, but I've hired dozens, if not, maybe not 100, but pretty close to 100 people now, and, cycle them through my business over the past 4, 5, maybe 6 years or so. And I consistently use this to help scale my business, automate different systems that I built within the business, and free up my time so I can look at other frontiers and new opportunities that might arise. And my business is running smoother than ever, even when I'm not at my desk. So you might be asking, how do you know if you're actually ready to hire? And there's 2 things that I always tell people to check first. So 1, you need to be able to give someone consistent full-time work, or at least consistent part-time work, ideally full-time. Because if not, they're going to keep looking for other jobs to fill in that gap, and you want to be the priority, not like a side project that they're working on. So the second thing is, do you know what you're going to do when you actually buy that time back, right? Because there's no point in hiring a VA, in my opinion, if you're just going to use that extra time to scroll Instagram or go play pickleball. The whole goal is to free yourself up so you can focus on higher level tasks like finding new suppliers if you're an e-commerce business, or launching new products, or building better systems for whatever your business model or whatever that new frontier is at the current moment. And when it comes to where to find VAs, I personally use onlinejobs.ph. It is hands down my favorite place to hire skilled workers that a lot of them already have a number of experience in the e-commerce realm, but you can really get solid virtual assistants for pennies on the dollar. So this is what it looks like when you actually log into onlinejobs.ph. And if you do want to try it out, I will link it in the description below. It has been my go-to for hiring virtual assistants for, again, 5, maybe 6 years now. I've used it to scale my Amazon dropshipping business, my Amazon online arbitrage business, my Facebook marketplace dropshipping business when I was doing that back in the day. Now, currently, I have a lister VA, I have a product research VA, and I also have somebody that kind of automates different tasks within my TikTok shop and TikTok affiliate business. So there's a number of different ways that you can do it. Plus, they also list, like I said, for marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark, Mercari, and a number of other places as well. So you can realistically use this not just for e-commerce, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, all right? So once you do sign in, you'll see that there's a number of different pricing options here. They do have a free thing that you can completely test out for free. So you'll see all the different things that come with the free plan here before you upgrade. The caveat with the free plan is it's essentially like a free trial. You can post job postings, but the only thing is you can't contact any workers, right? So you can't actually ultimately hire them. You kind of just see how the platform works, post a job post, or at least 3 job posts with the free plan. ultimately you are going to want to upgrade so that you can post and actually put your job listing up on this website so you get an influx of employees that are willing to do the job for you, okay? And just to show you, I've used this a ton. Last person I hired was 7 months ago, so I brought on another lister because I typically like to start people listing in the beginning. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's the most easy task to do because almost anybody can list with software nowadays. And so that lets me gauge whether a person is a decent worker or not, whether they're reliable or not, and a number of other factors. And then as they slowly start to prove themselves and demonstrate their value and that they're a competent employee, then I start giving them more responsibility and higher skilled tasks. So Lister, in my opinion, is the perfect place to get in, which is why you see a number of Lister applications here. And 7 months ago, I used this, and you can see these people are all willing workers that are applying for the position. You can put your position in for whatever you want, right? So let's go to some of my job posts here. So for e-commerce lister, I said I'm looking for an e-commerce lister for full-time, 40 hours a week, starting at $2 an hour. Hi, I'm looking for a long-term product lister to list daily for me for many different websites. Poshmark, Mercari, Etsy, etc. I have created tutorial videos to train you on how to list on each platform, and we'll use copy and paste software to copy titles, descriptions, and pictures automatically. You'll just need to list products using the listing software and make sure to fix the listings so they look good and are categorized properly. And just to show you that's not the only one that I have had a bunch of these now. So we've got a video editor, whiteboard animation, e-com lister, graphic designer for Etsy, and a number of other things. And you can literally see this got 652 hits. This one I didn't actually list. I paused it right away. 200 applicants here when I did this like 7 months ago, and I was able to bring on someone full-time almost immediately. Now, one thing about the pricing here is you might think like it's monthly or annually. And of course, if you plan on hiring a bunch of people, then that's advantageous to keep it going. But in my opinion, I've always just kind of used it, booked it at $69 a month, and then canceled as soon as I got the person that I was hiring. I look at it personally as like $70 to access this network of Filipino workers that are skilled that I can hire and arbitrage the amount that I can spend on an employee. Because another little thing that people get all upset about is the amount that I say that you could pay them, right? So if you go back to the listing here, I started this person at $2 an hour. This specific person right now, I think makes $4.50. So I constantly give them bumps. Once again, they demonstrate that they're more competent, right? And they start like demonstrating they're consistent, reliable, and all those good things. So I would say you could start people there, right? Or start someone at $3 an hour or whatever the case is. And obviously, as they go along, they get, raises here and there. But the benefit of this is I can start somebody super low in the Philippines, whereas hiring somebody here in the US or somewhere in like a country like that, it would cost me $10, $12, $15 an hour to do the same thing. And we're working online on a laptop, so I don't need to do that. Instead, I can arbitrage my money, hire somebody from the Philippines that can do the same exact job, if not better, especially if I'm training them up on it. And because their cost of living is not as expensive as it is right here in the US or somewhere similar, you are not taking advantage of these people, contrary to what most people would say. Instead, you're giving them an opportunity. There's a ton of Filipino workers on this website that want to work. They no longer have to drive to a factory or a job outside of their house, right? They can stay in their house, in the comfort of their own home, on their computer and work in the comfort of their own home with their family and earn the same, if not more, as they start to climb up the ranks. Obviously, they'll be earning more. So you're paying them what it's worth, and this money for them goes a lot further. In the Philippines, you are not taking advantage of them, right? And because of that arbitrage via using somebody else in a different country with a lower cost of living, we can really scale our business and use other man hours so that we can buy back our time and focus on the other things that we can't systematize and we can't automate. And that is really the value of this website. It is invaluable. Like I said, just going back down these listings, I have used this website for, I think 5-6 years now, something like that. You can see one of them was 2022 just right here. So not only does this give you access to a number of workers that are competent and can do a good job that you can train up, but also it comes with, once you use it, a built-in tracker. So if you wanted to bring somebody off the platform, obviously, and pay them directly, you could do that. I've done that in the past. I use PayPal. Sometimes I use Western Union if, for example, it's not somebody in the Philippines. The Philippines works with PayPal, but if you end up hiring, again, not on this website, just in the past with experience, like somebody from India or Pakistan or something like that, you can use Western Union. But for people from the Philippines, they can accept PayPal, so I use PayPal. Or what I've done in the past as well is you can use Timeproof on here and then Easy Pay on here as well. So what Timeproof is essentially is this was great for my graphic designer when I had a graphic designer for Etsy before AI came around, and now I use that because I could track every single thing that they were doing. All they would do is they would download Timeproof as an employee. I would download Timeproof as the employer. And then when they're starting to work, they just run Timeproof and it tracks everything that they're doing, taking pictures at random times while they're working, so I can look at snapshots to see that they're actually working while they're saying they're working, right? So if they clock 8 hours, for example, I can make sure that they actually worked 8 hours and they're not just telling me that they did and billing me for that, right? So Timeproof is invaluable. I've used this twice now, but especially for my graphic designer, it's been invaluable. And then from there, once you track, it tracks all the time that they actually log in, so you don't need to clock their hours and they don't need to either. You can both see it and check. So there's accountability, which is invaluable, but also you can just pay them right from this website as well. It's super easy. Again, it integrates with PayPal, and you don't have to worry about the nuances and the nitty-gritty of actually paying them directly if you don't want to deal with that. So it makes it stupidly easy. This website is my ultimate hack of how I've been able to scale so many businesses at once, e-commerce wise specifically, but also with like video content, because I no longer have to do everything. I can, again, leverage outside employees from overseas. They make great money and do a great job, and now we can scale together. So this has been my hack of hacks. And so again, onlinejobs.ph, I will link it in the description if you want to test it out. But once you've actually found a solid VA, that's the next question that I was going to ask. So again, you could stay on onlinejobs.ph, track and monitor their hours, like I said, and pay them directly on the website, which is great through Timeproof and, again, Easy Pay. But if you've elected to stop your subscription at that point and then wait till you, again, need somebody else, which might be a month or two from now or whatever, then PayPal, like I said, does work great as well. So again, training is super important as well. You need to be able to train these people up on exactly what you need them to do. But the benefit of it is you already know what you need because you're the one doing it in your own business as well already, right? So all I would say is you can use something like Loom, or you can use something like Screen Recorder to record your screen, capture your camera if you want as well, and record your voice easily, a lot like I'm speaking into now, and then just make videos explaining each task step by step and send it to the VA, have them watch it twice. I always say watch it twice so they catch everything. And then also, again, pay them for their time during that training while they're watching it, which builds goodwill and shows them respect for their time and their effort, and then test them and see how they do. Now, you might need to kiss a few frogs sometimes to find your essential prince, right? Sometimes you're lucky. The very first person I ever did this with was like a 10 out of 10 A+ employee, but I have seen a few frogs in my day as well. You will learn very fast if somebody is reliable, if they're competent, if they're willing to work, and if they're trustworthy, right? So I would say test them for at least a day, but ideally like a week. If something feels off, move on to the next person. It's totally fine. I promise you, if you do this with just a few people, you will find somebody that is totally worth it, is going to crush, and now you have an output of 40 hours for super cheap, so you can focus on other avenues and scaling your business. It is a game changer, right? And over time, I built up a full training library of videos for every single task that I outsource. So again, like product research, listing, customer service, and more. And that makes it super easy to onboard new people without having to re-explain things over and over again. Now, you obviously want to test people and give them smaller tasks before you bring them on into larger roles, like I said before, then give them more responsibility once they prove it. I'll typically start those people as listers just to get an idea of how they work, what they're capable of, and if they're reliable. And then if they're good, I will give them more important stuff to do afterwards. And eventually, as somebody proves themselves, you won't need to micromanage them at all. They'll earn your trust, but in the beginning, always keep an eye on things at least a little bit. But outsourcing doesn't mean just handing over your business, right? It means building a team that's going to work with you, not instead of you. And at the end of the day, if you want to scale your business, you need help, especially for this cost. It is ridiculously affordable. You can do it alone, okay? I did Facebook Marketplace dropshipping alone, multiple six figures by myself for like a year. But man, it was a slog. It was a headache. It took all my time and I absolutely hated it, right? It's going to take longer. It's going to feel harder and it's definitely going to burn you out. I'm sure if you're watching this to this degree, you know exactly what I'm talking about as a business owner, right? So bring on even one good VA can change everything for you. It frees you up to grow faster, fix weak points in your business, and allows you to keep innovating and instead of constantly putting out those fires day to day. Outsourcing literally changed everything for me, not just in terms of income, but in freedom as well. I stopped feeling stuck in my business and finally had time to focus on big picture things that actually moved the needle. So whether you're just getting started or you've already hit that first milestone, building a solid team is one of the smartest moves that you can make. And it all starts with that first virtual assistant hire. Trust me, once you see what's possible, you will never go back to doing it alone. Hope it helps. This is exactly what's worked for me.